Oh no! This is Synoptic and I'm doing a commentary for Empire Total War. This is a 4 versus 4 on the map Finland. And the sound just cut out and it won't come back. We'll go through my army first. I have 7 grenzers, 1 guard, 2 militia, 3 cuirassiers, 2 household cavalry, and 5 carabiners. Valkyrie, who is taking the middle part of the map, has the exact same build that I have. And promyczek has 6 grenzers, 7 light dragoons, 2 heavy cavalry, I believe, 2 guards, and 1 grenadier. And before I go through my opponent's armies, I'll show you this. Austria does a fatal error. He does not cover his artillery. He has 6 units of 24 pounder foot artillery. Valkyrie goes down the middle and cuts him down. He'll send 4 or 5 units with carabiners to attack them, and there'll be no support for a very long time. The end result is that he will kill, but yet rout 5 of these 6 foot artillery. France of the opposing side is using 14 linemen and 1 guard. Obviously he's meant to just hold his end in, while the other units of his team hammer us down with artillery. And as Valkyrie exits his assault, Austria has 10 linemen along with those 6 foot artillery. At this point 5 of them are routing. Now for the remaining 2 armies, who both play Ottoman Empire. I can't really tell them apart, but between them there are 7 units of artillery, 18 pounder, and about 15 line infantry, along with 7 CFE, plus their general's bodyguards. Now you might have noticed that I haven't gone through our last team member. His name is Chris, I think. This was meant to be a 3 versus 4, but as the game started, he somehow found his way into the game. So he has the default Austrian army, and I'm not even going to bother going through it because he doesn't really do anything throughout this entire match. When we were asking him what to do, what he wanted to do, he said it was his first game, and it was quite obvious because we're all advancing and all of a sudden he starts setting up these boxes, so he's going to set up a defense here while we're all on the offensive, so not much is going to happen. Essentially our 3 versus 4 plan was me to swing to the left, promyczek to swing the right, as well as Valkyrie, but Valkyrie was able to destroy over half of the opponent's artillery very early in the game, as you saw, so he was able to take the middle, which would help both the right and the left assault. Considering that the opponent had so much cavalry, heavy cavalry, in this case CFE, you had to watch out for charges such as this. There was another one mounted on Valkyrie, which he suppressed quite well. The one on me was very close, like I couldn't run away, but I backed mine up with my own cavalry, but he had already switched his attack to Valkyrie, who's in the middle here. So this is a very quick attack, but he's going to lose a lot of men in the process. Back to the right side with promyczek versus France. We're seeing what usually happens against grenzers, which makes the opponent advance continuously due to the grenzers' longer range. And what happens is they all get separated. So you can see this is very segmented already. It's split apart. Units are left behind. End result is heavy casualties on the French. Due to the fact that he only has linemen, he has no mobility whatsoever. His job was to defend, as shown, with the sheer amount of men. But unfortunately grenzers are anti-camping weaponry. Back on the middle front, I've collapsed my opponent's right side, so I've moved in. You can see with the green dots. So I've joined Valkyrie's army and continuing the assault. What we saw was I took the entire woods here with a continuously retreating enemy. They're all running away. They're all retreating to the woods here. You can see all the Ottoman flags. Now you might notice that I had to lower the settings. It looks a lot worse than usual. That's because there are so many men. I think there's 8,000, well over 8,000 men fighting it, duking it out. So they took this hill here. There's there's no real way in. He still has a couple of cannons out and about. And now this mess here is the collapse of the Austrian army. They've all retreated at this point. So showing the green lines again displays my advance. And the normal green lines are Valkyrie's advance. Back on the right front, France is continuously being pulled in with the Grenzer's superior range. Essentially what's happening is he's retreating, with the Grenzer following and allowing them to make pot shots with no retaliation from the French. So every time he retreats, he has to make some ground again, which is completely contradictory of what he's doing. End result, mass casualties. And the fact that he's got promyczek has cavalry in reserve, he's going to be using these to swing around and shoot them in the rear. Alright, now this is the rear. Now this is where Chrissy Boy comes in and has his first taste of battle. We initially told him to run directly at the enemy in a suicide charge, but he was smart enough to realize what we wanted him to do, so instead he decided to swing around the back. He was met by the remaining CFE as well as retreating Austrian men. So this is going to look quite confusing as Chris is also Austrian. So he's meeting very little resistance, essentially because he's only fighting the units that we've already destroyed. Back on the eastern front, promyczek has destroyed the French. There are still a couple of French units who have all decided to regroup with the main unit in the woodland. So at this point, the enemy has lost its left, rear, as well as right. Okay, I'm holding the spacebar down and you can see how many arrows are being made. This is a full coordinated attack by our remaining forces. All that we have against us now is the Woodland army, which consists of both of the Ottoman Empire armies and some ragtag light infantry from France. And as a recap, this is the Western Front, this is the Eastern Front, and the Northern/rear. The remaining Ottoman Empire army consists of about 6 units of light infantry, some light infantry, as well as 2 cannons. Now, this will not last much longer. At this point, I've already encouraged my teammates to discharge, because I've grown quite tired of this battle already. Essentially what this battle was a last fun game with the grenzers before they get nerfed. As you can see, 3 of our players were heavy on the grenzer, just for some fun. Then, this was the 3rd round. We had 3 games with the same people, so at this point they should have known what we were going to do. And this was actually the most balanced fight of the 3. The other 2 weren't even, it wouldn't be worth showing. So we saw some cavalry charges, which were quite good, but we're quite used to that anyway. But with an overhead view, you can see how many more men we have. We are the Austrian, the black and yellow, and they are the Ottoman, which is the dark maroon. Not much left at this point, which is maybe 4 minutes later. Problem with melee right now is that it goes for too long. These fights can really drag on. And we don't really have that many melee units, because with the grenzers they can't really fight up close. But I think one guy, yeah, Chrissy Boy, has all these guards, and he's shoved them in there. But yeah, you can see them routing now. About damn time.